What the most dad thing you have ever done? My daughter, Jessica, was about 12 or 13. I had left the car in the street for some reason and needed to put it back in the driveway. So, I grab my keys and head for the door. Jessica says, "Where are you going?" I say, "You want to come?" She says, "Yes." We got out to the car, get buckled in, I pull it in the driveway and get out. She is almost 40. I don't think she has forgiven me yet. I bought a new lawn mower on a Friday night and ended up waking up early Saturday morning eager to use it, but I realized it was still early, before 7 AM, and didn't want to disturb my neighbors. So I basically sat around the house for a couple hours twiddling in thumbs, excitedly waiting to use my new lawn mower. I'm 24, unmarried, and have no kids. Is it over, guys? It only gets worse. You've reached the point of no return when you start restoring old tools that you may never use. When my kids and their friends are playing in the basement, I like to yell from the top of the stairs, "Have fun, but don't touch my stuff," for no real reason. Chuckled while drinking my coffee, "You devil." I was at a concert in a very small venue. The opener was playing, Moses Sumney I believe, and I was right at the front. He said something like, "I've never played this next song live before, so hopefully I don't frick it up," and I immediately replied with, "Just try your best," right when the whole room went quiet. He then replied back to me with, "Thanks, Dad. Proudest moment of my fatherly career." Dude, having seen Moses live, that is exactly in his line of humor. He always is jabbing the crowd. When I saw him, he said, "This song is dedicated to all the virgins out there, 'cause I sure am looking at a lot of them." When my son was 2, we were watching TV at the top of the stairs while he toddled. He walked over to the stair, fell, and started to go end over end down the stairs. From the couch I leapt and grabbed him by the ankle and saved him from tumbling downstairs. As I settled my adrenaline-riddled heart down, I realized I had paused my show before making a leap to save my son. Priorities are priorities. Oh man, I've recently realized I'm turning into my father. I have 2 young boys now, and I swear in the last 3 years I've aged 20. Every year when I used to ask my dad what he wanted for his birthday, he'd say peace and bloody quiet. Without fail. Now I truly understand this. That's all I want too. Just please, for the love of God, give me 5 minutes. I just want to sit and stare at things and say nothing and not have to tidy, please, or answer the same dang question about Iron Man or elephants 14 times in a row. My toddler lost her balance trying to stand against a chair. From 6 feet away I was able to slide my hand right between our hard tile floor and her little squishy head before they collided. Surprised at myself, I asked my wife, "Did you see that?" She was like, "Yeah," almost unsure if she actually had. I've seen dozens of videos of dads breaking the laws of physics to save their child from harm. I never thought that would be me someday. It was like time had slowed and I had all the time in the world to make the perfect catch. It really did be like that. Adrenaline. Played with a kid on a playground while his mom was having dinner after a wedding. I was the best man, and not the dad. You definitely were the best man. We were in the Smoky Mountains and were walking into a brewery. A friend pointed out the help wanted sign on the door. I asked if I should put in an Appalachian. The force is strong with this one. I spend my days off doing yard work and refuse to pay anyone to do projects that I can figure out how to do myself. That's my dad. I have become him. I don't object to paying people to do stuff I probably should stay away from. For example, plumbing. So I don't flood and or burn down my house. I do object when I have to teach the guy I end up calling how to do his frickin' job so he doesn't flood and or burn down my house. While carrying the child, stub my toe to a point where I'm not sure if it's broken or bleeding horribly, because I have to first find a safe place to put him down gently, carefully, before I can collapse to the floor and writhe around, in agony. Man, have I been there. Whenever I need to fart, I make a gun with my fingers and fire at my daughter. I've yet to time it right with a combat roll though. Dad, please, you can't keep doing this at my wedding. Once put my foot in the way to try and stop my 2-year-old daughter running into our dining room table. Ended up kicking her square on the nose. I misread your username as JR Dad. That would have been more fitting. I told my son I was going to take away his birthday if he kept forgetting to brush his teeth before bed when he was 6. He's 9 now, and every birthday I put 6 candles on his cake and we celebrate his 6th birthday, and when people ask how old he is I tell them he's 6. My sister-in-law wasn't the brightest growing up. She's better now, and she was 7 for 4 years. I once got stranded outside of a small town at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was wearing pants and a tank top, and it was about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 5-ish degrees Celsius. I found the one and only 24-hour place, convenience store, in the entire place. Went in to buy a phone charger so I could call my friend and get a ride, success, and some snacks etc. Because a man's gotta eat girl behind the counter said, "Aren't you cold?" I reply, "No, I'm." You ask, "Didn't chew gum?" That was the moment I realized I have an illegitimate child out there somewhere. When my kids talk back to me I ask them if they think they are talking to one of their street friends. I still don't know what it means, and it was said to me all through my childhood. God, you are the worst. Not necessarily dad, but definitely old man. I was at Riot Fest in Chicago a few years ago. System of a Down was playing. Friends and I purposely stood fairly far back so as to not get involved in all the moshing and thrashing. A bunch of teenagers about 10 feet in front of me, but about 60 yards from the stage, started trying to form a mosh circle. I yelled at the top of my lungs, "Number, you stop that right now. If you want to do that crap, go up to the front of the stage." All the other people in their 30s around me started clapping and telling them to leave as well. It was the closest to get off my lawn I've ever been. Don't make me turn this concert around. In Bath and Body Works I stroller raced a dad and his toddler with my nephew. We both were making engine and tire squeal noises and sideswiping into each other like it was an epic NASCAR race. We were asked to wait outside, but both kids were having a blast, and we didn't have to stay in that wretched place, so I consider it a win-win. I'm 26. Just happened last night. Was taking a dump when my wife yelled that our toddler was blowing out of his diaper. For those of you who don't know that term, it means poop was leaking out of his diaper. I stopped myself mid-crap, shoved a piece of toilet paper over my beehole to prevent skid marks, and gave my kid a bath, got him in a clean diaper and pajamas, and helped read him a bedtime story before returning to the bathroom to complete my personal previously interrupted foray into defecation. In my house, bathroom time is a timeout from parenthood. The wife and I have taken progressively longer bathroom breaks over the last few years. As a single mother, my kids acknowledge that I have to fulfill both roles. Child, rubbing their eye. "There's something in my eye." Mummed. "It's your finger." Child, "There's something in my shoe." Mummed. "It's your foot." Ad nauseum. Moved into a new apartment with my fiancé recently. We were hanging up pictures, and I did the classic, use the stud finder on myself bit. My husband's been doing this since we met 6 years ago. The stud finder has about 50/50 accuracy. Internet friend sent me a picture of her boobs. I lectured her on the dangers of sending strangers. We had never met IRL nudes, especially with your face visible in them. I hope this earned you points. Actually, the moment I felt like my brother was full dad mode, even though he had a kid for a year at that point, was during his daughter's 1-year birthday party. I hadn't seen him in a while and I noticed his shorts have gotten shorter, and for a guy that used to be so on point fashion wise, just overall everything he's wearing is really unrefined. I'm just standing there and I notice him discreetly whip out a small camcorder as the birthday candles are being lit, and squats down to get a good angle. Taking your child to the beach for the first time is the most dad thing a man can possibly do. It requires 60-90 minutes of preparation, including assembling supplies and loading the vehicle. Bonus points if you get up early and drop the car off to get a good space. Once you have coordinated the nap schedule and found the window of opportunity, you traverse to the beach, looking at 10-15 minutes of unloading with multiple trips possible. All of the items brought are intended to stimulate the child and allow the family to get cute pictures. Once the kid gets cranky, then it's time to repack the stuff and load up the car so the kid can take a nap inside while you have wasted an entire beach day for roughly 25 minutes of sun. That is when you know a man has crossed the Rubicon and become a dad. You just described a ski trip. Went to a little get-together party at a friend's house with a few people I knew. I was the first one there, so I had to cut some wood and get the fire started, all while drinking a cold one. After that, pointed out the motorcycle sitting behind us to my buddy and asked why he hasn't been riding it. He claimed it wasn't running, so I took a look at it for shoots and giggles. Smelled gas when he turned it over, so I checked the fuel lines and saw one was disconnected. Reconnected, tried again but still didn't start, but almost. Pushed it down the hill and bump started it and rode it down the street. I cut the wood, made the fire, drank the beer and fixed the motorcycle. I was dad. Went to Capriottis for lunch. Girl behind the counter is cute as heck. She is super flirty. I go back about a week later, half because she's cute and seems into me. I order my sandwich, and as she's taking my order she caresses my hand and says that I have really nice hands. I'm definitely flattered but also a little taken back because dang, this never happens to me. While I'm waiting for my order, she writes her number down on a receipt and hands it to me with my sandwich. I waited a couple days and then texted her. We chatted a bit and then it comes out that she's 17 years old. I basically scolded her and told her she don't need to be handing men her number like that at 17 years old. Took 2 tries to get off the couch, grabbed a beer, walked back to the couch and sat down, scratched my balls, then neglected my family for 20 years. Good news is that by the time you get back with your smokes, I'll be able to buy you the next pack. I had a dad moment the other day while driving and a kid was riding his bike going slow in the street. I yelled, "Get out of the street, you degenerate, why aren't you in school?" It was Labor Day. I'm 23 and in turning into my dad. Frick. We went to the zoo with one of my grandsons a few weeks ago. As we were walking between the different areas, I saw a big flat rock they had for people to sit on. I couldn't resist. I ran over to the rock, looking surprised. "Whoa, do you know what this is?" "No." "What? It's a rock. Haven't you ever seen a rock before?" I used to do that kind of thing with my kids, and I'm happy to be passing the tradition on to the next generation. I was a business management graduate. Got a job there corporate eventually. Since I got surplus in my salary, I decided to enroll again in school to get some education units. It was just for fun. I am not really planning to become a teacher. Met a friend there who's just like me there. I was 22 back then, but I'm kinda trippy. Not your mature type of guy. We were both a prick when we were young. We were drunk almost every day and were heavy smoker. After finishing the said course, we applied as high school teachers. We are not really serious and plan to make fun of students. Luckily we got hired. He specialized in science while I am tasked at the social science and business subjects. Since we were both non-education courses graduate, students easily can distinguish us from regular teachers. We were this funny, dark jokes, and clumsy teachers. Imagine Mr. Bean as a doctor. We were very awkward teachers. We became popular and were the most liked teachers in the campus. It all started as fun, but when we were there, we felt that what we are doing is really admirable. For once in our life we felt like we are doing something positive in our lives. We are considered to be the most passionate and hardworking by our peers. We stayed late almost just to teach students who are having a hard time in our respective subjects. Accounting for me, the care that we show was genuine and I really felt proud every time our students get a high scores in test. We realize that this is not for fun anymore and we really want to give these students a better future. We treated them as our children, so aside from classroom lessons we gave them life advice. It was easy for us to relate to them because we were much worse when we were their age. Just last week I had 14 students who passed the CPA board exam, one of the most difficult board in our country. All of them gave me high praises in social media because they idolized me and said that I'm the one who gave them inspiration to study hard. I'm so proud of them, like they are my own child. I can never be more happy and satisfied in my life. I started as stupid, almost addict, prick and naive person, then became a passionate high school teacher. And BTW on second week of my job I challenged a student in a fist fight just because he's noisy. That really how stupid I am in the beginning. Excuse my English, I'm not from the US. Not a teacher anymore. Opening the hard to open clamshell packaging at Christmas and birthdays. For your kid. But no, it doesn't end there. The most dad thing I did recently was telling my son that he's gonna need a box cutter or scissors to open his daughter's present. Then winked wisely and stuck the pipe back in my mouth and rocked silently. Kids would ask for something. I'd distractedly look up from the TV and mumble a half-hearted "we'll see." 8-year-old turns to the 6-year-old and sagely advises that means no. I'm not even a dad, but my son has adult kids. One day, after mowing the lawn in khaki shorts, black socks, and sandals, I went downstairs to have a nice iced tea and put some Steely Dan records on my stereo. Later, I went to the Home Depot for wood filler. Always yell at my friends to put their seatbelts on when we're in my car. I also make sure everyone is fed. If you don't have money for food, I'll pay for you or we'll share my meal. Raised 3 children, 2 boys, on my own. I'm a woman. Taught them to tie a tie. Open doors for women, even taught them small household repairs. I get a Father's Day card from them every year. I got my son out of jail for being drunk and disorderly. Talked the sergeant into releasing him without paperwork being filed. Drove his butt home. Got him cleaned up. Aspirin into him. A bottle of water into him. And into bed with a bucket on the floor. Sat down at 4 AM with a scotch thinking that I really needed to go back in time and apologize to my own father. 2 hours later, the next day started. I went to a local food festival with my wife and our daughter, let's call her Doot, who was 4 years old or so at the time. Doot and I wanted ice cream. My wife did not, so she wanted to get something else, leaving me in charge for 5 minutes maximum. We get to the ice cream stand. Doot sees one she likes and orders it. No big deal. Wife returns and asks what Doot got. I cannot remember the name, but its description, which I did not read at the time of ordering, clearly states it involves coffee ice cream with espresso powder in it. Kid is wound up and cranky for hours. Guess who fielded that mess? I was out camping with my family and there were kids running around everywhere. It was mid-afternoon and all the adults were preparing lunch. The fire was out for the most part but still had hot coals. Most of the kids were good around it except one 1-2-year-old. I was roughhousing with the 4-year-olds about 30 yards from the fire when I catch the 1-2-year-old bolting for the fire looking like he wants to belly flop on top of it. His mom had taken her eye off him long enough for him to exploit the opportunity. He was too far for me to catch him before he got to the fire. His mom screams. I had one of those soft smooth plastic balls so I just chucked it at him hoping to get his attention so he would wave off. It hit him dead in the face and flat backed him. His mom ran over and picked him and then thanked me. I yelled at my roommates for touching the thermostat and muttered to myself as I fixed it. Then turned off all the lights across the apartment, let out a big sigh, and went to bed at 9:10 PM. Send help. Tripped in my attic while putting up my plastic Christmas tree and my daughter's winter clothes after the New Year's season. Entire leg went through the ceiling drywall. Renovated my house. 3/4 plywood and entire attic. Whenever anyone in my house opens a door to the outside I say in a stern voice, hurry up and shut that door, we are not heating cooling the outside. The most deadbeat dad thing I ever did was drive my brother to high school wearing nothing but my skivvies and a pair of Crocs. I smelled like tequila and self-hatred and probably hadn't shaved in half a week. I have a Microsoft Word document where I save all my favorite jokes. It's probably the oldest document on my drive right now. One of my sons reminded me that I once went to Parent-Child Day when he was in 2nd grade to see his work hanging up and in his daily journal. After a few minutes with him I saw a classmate of his sitting alone and trying to draw attention to her journal. I felt bad and went over to let her show me her drawings and work. She was still showing me her work when the teacher started to thank the parents and our cue to leave. My son, now grown, said I spend more time with her than him. I started to say I was sorry and he cuts me off and says, "No dad, that was great." One of those rare times in life when you find out you've made an impression that you'd have never considered it to be. Broke up a party in a hotel room. I was just a friend of the room owners and they were trying to get this one drunk annoying girl out of their room. Went in there, put on my best dad face, and sent her and her friends to their room. Not me, but my husband. Gets mad when someone is in his chair even if it's not at home. He's 27. He has his chair at every restaurant we frequent. My parents' place, his dad's place, his best friend's place, my best friend's place, and everywhere else we regularly go. So everywhere, not the doctor's office. Just, ugh. I love him. I really do. But just, ugh. That and telling our son, before he can even get a question started, nope, go ask your mother. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.